Hello everyone, welcome to Roman Just Codes. I'm Roman. This is Live Coding After Hours, Season 1, Episode 10, the last episode of this season. I thank you very much for joining me throughout this journey and accompanying me in me building a full-blown Angular PWA where I've implemented Firebase Authentication, Firebase Cloud Firestore. I've implemented it using Angular 11. I've brought like a bunch of elements of PWAs into it little by little, but this final episode, I'm gonna be wrapping it as a full Angular PWA using the Angular CLI. I'm also going to be adding Firebase hosting. What we're going to be doing is actually host our application on Firebase, which again, one of the benefits of that is not only that because it's free, but it also allows us to have a free SSL certificate because PWAs need to be served over HTTPS. So that's one of the great benefits of doing Firebase. I'm going to show a couple of links around Firebase hosting on that. Also, I'm going to be wrapping the application as a PWA. We're going to be able to install it on our home screens in any device that we try it, whether in Android or iOS. Even though iOS doesn't have like full support for like service workers and PWAs, but it does some aspects of that so that it makes your application look more like native. So because it would allow you to add an icon to your home screen, and then when you tap on that icon, it actually looks just like any other application that you have installed on your mobile device. The same thing goes for Android, but Android plays a little bit better when you run it on a Chrome on your mobile device. It does play better a little bit with service workers. We're going to be talking a little bit about service workers, what they mean, what they are, what's the benefit that they bring for your PWA. What's the benefit of that? Also, again, remember throughout this season, we also implement Google Maps. So remember, we did like we did the route polylines. We actually did custom pins. We did a little bit of we did like the custom sliding panel from the bottom of the screen showing on the map, kind of like a custom info window. If you say, you can actually take a look at. Let me show you the application where we left it off last time. So this is again the application that we've been building. For those of you who just joined, please make sure to view the previous 9 episodes that we did, all live streamed, where we've been building this application from scratch, from the first Ngsw and creating the project from the first time. So this is a PWA that I've been building for the past 9 episodes, and then this 10th episode I'm wrapping it up. So it's an application that I started as a Flutter native application. And then now I'm porting it over to Angular again to prove that the right ones run anywhere is more than alive, more alive than ever. And this is something that you can use to actually again implement your applications, like having this native look and feel as a PWA, but build using web technologies. So this application is called Torsi. Is like an aggregation, like a hand curated list of touristic attractions from the Dominican Republic. So you have like a splash screen, you have like a list of the attractions, you have a map view of those attractions, you have a details page. We created our profile page using Firebase Authentication. You can actually take a look at that specific episode. These are like how you can do my favorites as well, and how we actually save that in Firebase Cloud. In Firebase Cloud Firestore, we're able to store these directly there. I love building my Angular PWAs and all my apps on top of Firebase because it provides such a plethora of services. Again, Firebase Cloud Firestore, cloud messaging, Firebase hosting, real-time database, and all those great features that we know and love. So these are some of the things that I've implemented in here. Also, this was like the welcome screen that we implemented. And again, so I've had such a blast building this application in front of you guys and sharing the knowledge with everyone. So in this episode, again, I'm going to wrap it up as a PWA, and I'm going to do Firebase hosting and deploy it in Firebase so that we can serve it over HTTPS. And also we can install it on our devices. So I actually have my mobile device in here. And then we're going to try like how to do it there also. So it would be awesome seeing it like for the first time in our screens. Let me just make sure that, okay, we're all set. So there you go. So now we're going to be actually adding it, to our home screen. I'm going to be pointing to that later. So this is the application right here. And actually, let me just do a quick housekeeping activities. So remember, visit my blog, which is Roman Just Codes. You can use a romanjustcodes.web.app, and you can visit my blog there, where I post a bunch of these videos. Please make sure to subscribe to this live streaming series, where you can actually watch it via YouTube or Twitch. So make sure to subscribe. Please support me that way. You can also read some of the blog posts that I do on Medium, so make sure to read those. I post a lot about Angular. I've done a lot of Flutter in there as well. So I think next season might potentially be about Flutter as well, because of the there's a bunch of activities in the Flutter space coming up, and I wanna bring everybody up to speed on that. You can take a look at some of the apps that I've developed. Most of them are like in Flutter, Android, iOS. And you know, some games that I've developed, very cool stuff. And of course, I'm rocking this cool swag and my you know, some of this merchandise. So make sure to go to my store and purchase some of that if you like it and all that. So please enjoy that. So here again, make sure to follow me on Twitter. My handle is @DRCoders, so you can follow me there. Here, remember, I'm just gonna recap some of the videos that we've done in this series. So remember, we did like starting from scratch on this project. We created the scaffolding. We added, like, we talked about Angular components. We talked about Angular services. We did some state management. So make sure to watch those videos. So these are all the videos that we've done throughout this series. Make sure to watch them all, and if you find something useful in there, please subscribe to the channel. That way I can continue being motivated and bring like great content and educational material as far as Angular and all things coding, you know, for you guys. So truly appreciate that. Thank you. So why don't we start right away, and let me tell you where we left off. Again, like I said, like, this is the application. Let me just rebuild it again. This is again an Angular project built with the latest and greatest Angular 11, and then I implemented Firebase Authentication. If you click here, it says login. You can it immediately logs into my default account, which is my personal account. And then here it says, like, have no preferred attractions. But then, for example, I can go to the main page. Remember, you have like your top rated attractions in there. That's pretty cool. You can go by region, and then you can select like attractions by region. All this is fed by an API that I developed also in Firebase using Firebase Cloud Functions, another great feature of Firebase. By activity, again, the same thing. All this is fed from that API. The map view gives you like a map representation of all those attractions and where they're located in the map, in the island. And then let's say if you tap on one of those, you get like a little bit of a tooltip, like some sort of like a toast or snack bar message, you know, if you want to call it. If you tap on one of those, then it takes you to the details page of that specific attraction. By hitting back, you're taken back to where you were before. You can take a look if you favorited something. So for example, check this out. If I go to the top rated and I say, okay, I want to favorite this guy, I can go to my profile and look, I already have one preferred attraction. This stuff immediately gets saved into Firebase, and that's what's cool about it. So that's what we implemented. We did Firebase Cloud Firestore, which is again that NoSQL database provided by Firebase that sits on top of the cloud, Google Cloud, storing all these values as documents and collections, and we were able to store that under our Firebase project. So here, this is the Firebase project that we've been working on. So this is the Torsi app. If you click on that guy, let me have to log in again as this user. Let me go back, sign in. Yeah, because I had to provide the authentication. I think I had logged out. Now let me take you back again there. So there you go, the Torsi app. Boom, there it is. And if you go to the real-time database, for example, actually the Cloud Firestore. Real-time database is pretty similar, but Cloud Firestore is kind of like the forward-looking approach to like NoSQL, real-time updates to your data and consuming data like that. So you see, like, I was able to save my the favorites that I did on the application right here. Firebase Authentication allows me to do that. See, these are all the people who have like logged into the application and have seen it. So that's awesome. I see some people have even tried it. So there you go. So let me try now yeah, I'll just close this guy. So anyway, so if I will just move this over to the side and then let's start. So the first thing that we're going to be doing in order to convert this application into a PWA is actually using the Angular CLI's ng add Angular /PWA. That's one of the first things that you need to do. So I'm just going to open another terminal right here. And then the first thing that you need to do is that. And then if I show you, for example, like you can take a look at the Angular documentation, which is very rich in information about PWA, service workers and whatnot. And then it mentions a little bit of that. So even here, how to get started with service workers and how to add a service worker to your project in a very seamless way is by doing ng add Angular /PWA, and then you mention your project. We only have one single project, so you just say ng add Angular PWA. So again, service workers, you can read up on service workers right here, but in a nutshell, again, service worker is nothing more than kind of like a proxy. So it's a service worker is a JavaScript file, a JavaScript script that actually works on the background, runs in the background of your browser. Remember that JavaScript is single threaded. In order to kind of simulate or kind of delegate a heavy load and heavy processing off of the main thread, you kind of spawn like a separate worker. That's what they call it. So that you create like a worker, a web worker. That is like a separate thread that your browser can instantiate. Imagine you kind of like opening another browser window, but behind the scenes, like headless pretty much. And then it executes on a separate thread, and then it can communicate with their main thread via messages. So they can exchange messages between each other. And then that's how you can do heavy processing on this thread. And then when you're done, you just pass it as a message back to your main thread. That way you can simulate having like multiple processes and doing things in parallel, at the same time achieving a little bit of a native-like performance. Even though PWAs, again, still maybe they don't match in performance and as a native application, but they come really close, and they provide a separate experience if you want to stick with web technologies and build native-like experiences that delight your users. So that's exactly what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna be posting this link in the description of this video, and you can read up on that and continue on that. But the only thing at the minimum stuff that you're gonna be doing is what I'm gonna be discussing in this video. So let's start. So the first thing we're gonna be doing is ng add Angular /PWA, like I said, and then if I just hit enter, what it will do is we'll start downloading some of those pieces. So it will install the required packages. It will add some of the main pieces that make your application, your Angular application, as a PWA. What are those pieces? A service worker, a manifest, and some configuration files that we'll do there. It also adds some icons that you can use kind of as a reference. But these are the icons that we'll use, that your application will use when you add it to your home screen, kind of giving you that icon look and feel so that it makes it look like a native application when you launch it. So let me log out of Torsi again so you can see that. So again, if you see here in this particular project, I already have something that got created. Is an Ngsw Config. So this is a service worker configuration file. By default, what this tells me, if you just if you can take a look at this configuration, remember, for a PWA to be a PWA, it has to achieve three main pillars: being reliable, being capable, and being installable. Reliable meaning regardless of network connectivity, it will perform some caching on some resources and then be immediately available for you. Capable, because as you've seen in this video and in this series, I've implemented Google Maps, but you can implement more things like push notifications, background synchronization. You can do, again, you remember I saw the map, you could do push notifications like I mentioned already, but you could go even beyond that. You can even create your own Zoom application, just build on web application, on web technologies like WebRTC. And then in the future, we will get geofencing. And one of my favorite features, web NFC. So NFC that you can actually do it from a web application as opposed to you having like a, like a native application. You can also implement, you have some limited accessibility to the camera and audio and sound and all that. You can implement a bunch of things, some limitations, but you can come really close to like native implementation. The service worker, then I'm sorry, this configuration, what this does is it simplifies how you implement a service worker. So you don't have to go to the nitty gritty of the service worker, implement those low level APIs. Here, with just updating this configuration file, it already tells you what you can do with the service worker from this configuration. For example, this is just saying, let's just, for example, like this particular asset group, like this configuration piece here tells me that I want to have an install mode of prefetch, which means, right there it just tells you the description. So it just fetches every listed resource while it's caching the current version of the app. So initially you will have like the favicon, you will have the index.html, the manifest, of course, because you need the manifest, and like the CSS and the JavaScript. Then lazy loading the rest of the assets, like heavy stuff like images and stuff like that, and everything inside the assets folder. So by you just editing this configuration file and manipulating it, then you don't have to implement the inner workings of that. You can go more lower level, but with this is enough. After you then implement that, you notice that in my assets folder, you saw like in the command, like some icons got generated. So these are the icons that you will see when you install your application on your mobile device. When you like add it to the home screen, you will see that icon. Those icons come from here. And how are those icons referenced in the application? Via the manifest. So the manifest is just this JSON file that describes your application. It tells you what the name of the application is. Let's say when you add it to your home screen, you have like the little name. So it will be like Torsi web app. Theme color, you can implement theme color, the background color, the display. This is like telling the application how the browser will behave, whether it will show like some of the Chrome stuff, like navigation items. By saying display standalone, which is the common way to do an Angular PWA or a PWA per se, is that it just removes the whole Chrome of the browser and it makes it show kind of like almost like full screen with just like the status bar at the top. So that's cool. The scope and the start URL, those are things that define what's the scope of your Angular PWA. If it's from the root of the application or just a section of your web is gonna be managed by that manifest and by the and it's gonna be caching like those items and whatnot. So you make sure that your scope is always like at the root if you want your whole application to be the PWA. So this is how you refer to the icon. So again, the manifest tells the application, oh, you can be installable, and these are the icons that you can use to reference like an icon in your home screen. So these are the icons right here. These are the icons that get generated. We're gonna get to that point in a second. So at least I just wanted to have the pieces in place. So after we have the manifest and we have you see like the configuration in here, we already installed it. So but this is not it. You still have to add a few things in a way to make it like feel like a native application. Let me show the emulator. So with the simulator, let's say the iOS simulator, I'm going to install it through here and then you will see how it behaves. I think I've already made a couple of tests in this one, but we're going to try it again. Awesome. So again, I've had such a blast building this application as a PWA. So, and again, I thank you everyone for joining throughout this journey. Please make sure to watch the previous videos, follow, subscribe, like, make sure to follow me on Twitter because I'm going to be posting a bunch of things coming up. So I think my simulator, I may not be working. Let me start it again. So I'll do simulator because I want to test it like on a, simulated device, but it's not gonna be the iPad Air. We'll probably do like let's just pick a different type of device so we can actually let me show the simulator. So it will be like the iPhone 11 Pro Max. This is the one that I use the most, of course, because this is a PWA. For now, at least I was focused on like a mobile device, but of course you can tailor this application to run anywhere pretty much. So this is where we're going to be adding that, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the experience, how we get to that native look and feel. At the beginning it will look like crap, but you still need to add a few pieces to that, and that's exactly what I want to show here. So again, am I running? Yes, I am running here in this other, in this other piece. So while these boots, I'm gonna show you, actually, okay, here we are, that's it. So why don't we do that? So instead, I'm gonna run my application right here from this, from Safari. And then if I do, for example, like localhost 4200, I'm gonna run the application in here, and then see, it looks cool. So later, when you get to see this application like in its full glory, showing as a PWA, like a native-like application, it will do this. So we will be able to do add to home screen. Here you see that it says Torsi web app. So this is the name of the application, like the title in your index.html. In Android, it would actually read the value from the manifest. So here we want to see like a nice, cool logo, not just like the preview that it picks up from the web page. So that's what it did. It picked up that and it created like an ugly logo. Then it will says like Torsi web app. You don't want it to say Torsi web app. Look, if you add this, you see it creates this ugly logo. If you launch it, it's still not a PWA. It doesn't show like as a PWA. So that's exactly what we're going to be fixing, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing throughout this video. So let me just hide this guy. Sorry. And then let me just hide that guy. Perfect. So let me just get rid of this guy right away. So there you go. I just delete the bookmark. Perfect. And now I'm gonna keep this on the side, and then I'm gonna keep bringing it little by little. So let me, I'm blocking it by that, so we should bring it like over here. There we go. Okay, but anyway, I'll bring it later when we when we're ready to do so. So at least for now, we're good. Now, how do you actually then make sure that you have a true PWA, that it actually hides the content up there, that it actually does all of these things? So let's do it. So starting from, let's say, this particular experience, remember, you have to edit a few things, not only in your index.html, but in the manifest. So the manifest, the things that you usually edit in the manifest is like the name. So the name of this application will be, we're going to call it Torsi. The short name could also be the same thing, Torsi. The theme color, I'm actually going to be picking the theme color from our application. So I want the theme color, and the theme color actually is what it does. Like, let's say in Android, it changes the color of the status bar. Also, I believe in other places, like it shows this color like as the background of the splash screen and whatnot. So it does that. It's another thing that we're going to be adding to make this application feel more native, like adding splash screens, new icons, and all that. So I'm gonna go to my assets, styles, colors, and I'm gonna grab the main green from here. So this is gonna be the theme color of my application. So I'll add it as theme color. I'll add it also as background color. This is something that applies to the background of your application. That's one of the things I'm gonna be fixing in here as well. So let me show you. Okay, perfect. So now let me go to the index.html, and now I'm going to show you a few of the things that we're going to be adding. First of all, I'm going to change this thing to Torsi, and you need to add a few pieces in here. You need to add the references in the case of iOS, because it doesn't fully support the PWA and the manifest. You have to bring a few pieces in here into your application. So let me show you what those things are. So for example, one of the things that you need to bring is like references to those icons, or for example, like it already has a reference to the manifest. That's cool. It already has a reference to the theme color. This was added when we did ng add Angular PWA. That was added automatically into the index.html. But we need to add a few things here. We need to add the icons. We need to add the splash screens, and some specific iOS meta tags actually. Perfect. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing little by little. So the first thing that you want to bring is like some of those icons. So what you bring is this. So you say icons, and then you have to refer to where those icons are. So remember, we have like assets, icons, and we have the favicon, we have like some icons in there. So that's exactly what you bring over. Okay, so and the icons have to be here, like in the assets, like inside of the icons. You need meta tags for like Apple. So Apple needs these specific meta tags so that it actually behaves like a kind of like a PWA. and then it removes the Chrome. These other things. Look, you have to have like mobile web capable, web app capable. Yes, Apple doesn't like to call it like PWA. They call it mobile web app, but it's okay. It's just semantics, you know. So again, you have to have like Apple touchscreen. Yes, Apple mobile web app title. The same thing here is gonna be called Torsi. Apple mobile web capable. Yes, and here you keep the status app status bar style. I'm gonna show you this piece right here. So you keep it as black translucent. Why? Because you want the background of your application to show through the status bar. That way the status bar will be the color of your application, and then you kind of add more theming and more personalization to your application. So by calling it black translucent, if you don't have any color in the background of your application, it will be black, but it will be translucent, meaning if you actually see show some color and add some color, you will see through. So that's that. So after I do that, of course, I need to bring in like some of the assets for the splash screens. But I want to get to that point of adding the assets first before adding that piece. So let me show you. So one of the things that I like, one of the cool resources for doing splash screens is this great resource. Like I created a video actually on that. I have a video where I actually have like it's a web page. It's a guy that created something that you upload a video, like an image, and then you get a bunch of let me show you actually. So this URL where you can actually generate like all your splash screens, and you can generate all your icons automatically. Like it's pretty cool. Like you just upload an icon, and then it gives you all the icons for every device, for every size, for every platform, and all that. It's pretty cool. Let me show you. So in my I even created like I believe I created a post on that as well. So I'm gonna find that URL for you guys right now. So if you do like app icons, yeah, this guy right here. So let me show you. So this guy is called I call it See the Dot. I don't know what it's called, but this guy created this amazing resource. So what you do is you actually select the icons that you want to generate. You select, for example, like a favicon, a PNG, PWA, progressive web apps for iOS, Safari, for Edge, for Android, let's say like that. If you want to include like Windows stuff, you can do that. Now, what is the path that is going to generate? So it's going to say icons. So you're going to create a zip file with a folder called icons, and then inside that icons, then you're going to have all your images. The background color actually will be the color that I want. So I want to create icons with the color of my application. So I don't think I need the hash for this one. So I bring this over, and then I say, this is my background. So you provide the background, and then I need to provide an icon as well, like an icon in there. So the icon, I'm going to generate it from here. So I think I want, let me see. I need to generate like one of these guys, like this icon in particular. So let me show you. So I'll probably use this as the icon, and then it will generate like a square with this guy inside. So this guy will be Torsi logo, right? I think I need maybe a little bit of spacing around it. So let me do that trick that I always do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a copy of this guy. Oops, sorry. And then here, that's my icon, and this is my guy. So I wanted to create like a spacing around it, so you know, it kind of gives it like a little bit of breathing room. And then now this guy, I'm gonna group it and export it as a PNG. So I'll do export selected. I'll just put it like in my downloads for now, and then I'll just do Torsi app logo like that. I'll drop it as a PNG. Actually, let me see if I think it does take SVG. So I'll do SVG, and let me try that. So now I'll say upload the file. So if I go to my downloads and pick my SVG, boom. If you scroll right back down, see it creates that. Oh, I need to do this. There you go. And then I'll do the file again. I select my Torsi app logo, so it did need that. So if you scroll down, you see like it generates all your icons for all the, you know, for Android, for iOS, for Windows, for this, for that, for like all bunch of icons. So that's exactly what I wanted. You see, this is a very cool resource. I'm gonna put this link in the description so you actually generate your assets like that as well. So this is pretty cool. So all you have to do now is just download all files as a zip, and then you're done. I'll go to my I'll go to the downloads, And then right here, all you have to do is just open this guy, and you get like all your icons. All you have to do is just come over, drag them into your assets in the icons folder. I'm gonna even grab, I don't need this guy, so I'll move it to the trash. I need everybody in here. See, it even has like Windows 10. I'm not gonna use the Windows 10 for now, but you know that it got generated, which is okay. Actually, I'm just gonna go with only these guys. So I'll drop it in my icons folder, and then I'm good. Perfect. The next thing that I want to add, now that I have all my icons in there, very cool, and I refer to them, not only I can refer to them here in the manifest, but remember, because we're doing just the iOS piece for now, I'm referring to them here in the icons. So you will have the favicon 16 by 16. I believe I do have already that. There you go. I have the 32 by 32, 192 by 92, and 180 by 180. Well, I don't need the 180 by 180 right now. I may not even need this one at this point. I'll just leave it there, but I'll probably generate that later. So aside from icons, I also want to do the splash screen. I'll tell you why. Because it's not enough with just this splash screen. This is just the internal splash screen. You actually want the splash screen when the application launches right away. I'll show you. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate one folder, and I'm going to call it splash screens. There we go. And that's it. So now I go to this other website to generate splash screen. So I have like one resource for almost everything. So now if you go to this website right here, appsco.pe, this guy also is very similar to this icon generation. You upload a file, and then it generates like a splash screen for you for iOS. Because this only applies for iOS, because Android actually generates like a splash screen by default by just providing the information in the web manifest. You just provide the background color and the path to the icon, and then it creates a splash screen for you. iOS doesn't do that. You have to provide specific files for that. So check this out. You do the same thing. You choose an image. So I'm going to be using the same image. You provide a color. So see, it tells you here what are the devices that you wish to generate the splash screens for. So I'm going to go for everybody. And I'm going to do, instead of aspect mode fill, center with a background color. And then here, yeah, this is the one that actually doesn't need the hash. So I'm just going to grab the from my web manifest. So I'll grab the theme color. And I'm going to put that in here as the, actually I don't need it. Yep, there you go. So the center with the background color. And then what it was going to do is just going to generate a bunch of splash screens for all of those devices. And then I just have to drop it in here. That's it. So I'll do next. I'll download the zip. And you see, all I have to do is just place this guy in there. And then I'm done. Like, place this in the HTML, in the index.html. Since I already have it and it's all set for me, so I'm just going to grab it. I had it here in my notes. So all I have to do is just come here to the index.html and add it here where it says splash screens. Now I have to drop those files, bring those files over from my downloads, and then grab the splash screens from there. So look, I'll just grab the splash screens. Here they are. All I have to do is just drop them in there. And there you go. That's it. So these are the things, you see, these are the things that maybe a lot of people don't tell you, but these are the things that make your application stand from the rest. So you want your application, your PWA, to behave and look and feel as much native as possible without even being native. It gives you that edge. It gives you that uniqueness. So these are the little details that your users will notice in your application, aside from the performance and all that. But these are the things that you want to bring into your application, which are pretty cool. So awesome. So look at this. So I'm just going to recap real quick. We've added these icons, which are referenced from the assets icons folder. We added specific iOS meta tags. These are actually what make this tick in iOS Safari on your mobile device, on your iPhone, or even on your iPad. The splash screens, you need that only for iOS. The rest of the stuff will be actually coming from the web manifest. That's the cool thing. So you need to implement, for both platforms. This is the only thing that you do like specific for each platform, aside from the rest of the code, which is the same for both platforms. So awesome. So let me save everything. And now let's take a look again. Let's see how this is looking. So if I bring my emulator again, and then let me make sure that you guys are seeing. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna launch Safari again. I'm gonna go to my local host. Perfect. Now this time I'm gonna say add it to the home screen. So I'll do add to home screen. Look, it's looking good. If you scroll this up and you do add to home screen, check this out. There's my icon and it says store C, and then when I add it, it looks as if it's just any other mobile application. It looks like a native application. It doesn't look like just like a browser link. Now when you launch it, you see the launch, you see the splash screen, and then you see my splash screen. So that's awesome. So that's the thing that I wanted to accomplish here. Make sure that you see the application launching as if it was a native application. You don't see any of the Chrome from the browser, so it doesn't look like it's a browser, like an Angular application. It looks like native. So if you click in here, look, it looks like pretty much native, aside from, of course, that bar up there, which is what I'm gonna fix right now. And then, or after that, it works exactly the same. It launches of course, it launches the Firebase Authentication in a separate browser. All native applications do that. I'm gonna log in with my user and I provide my password. And then when it comes back, okay, see, it taps my phone to make sure that I can do that. Like it does the two-factor authentication. I say yes on my phone. Here you will get that response, and then you get landed right here. But you see, it took me out of that experience, which is okay. We're gonna fix that in a minute. And also, not only because we're running on localhost and whatnot, but that's it. But there you go. You see, pretty cool. And then there you go. You see everything. Awesome. Nice. I like the way that this is looking. Perfect. So now you notice this thing up here, like it's like white, right? I actually want that, and then I don't see the status bar either. That is because of this thing right here. So when we said translucent, so the background of my application is white. I want the background of the application to be the color of the theme. And the way to do it actually in this particular case is actually going to the application and making the body of your application be green, or like your theme. Then your pages, make sure that they have their own individual colors, and then that way you can accomplish what we're trying to do. So let me show you how to fix that. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the main styles, actually not here, in the styles.scss. So the body, the main body of the application will be, background color. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be doing this color. I'm sorry, that's what I wanted to do. So if I go to the styles colors and I pick this color right here, so I'll do here in styles.scss, and then I'll provide the colors like that. Or of course, because I'm importing the colors in here, let me just use it straight up. I'll just say main green, which is even better. So let's do that. Let's go back to the styles.scss, and then here I'll say background color is the main green. Perfect. Now, all the app pages, most of the app pages are actually is the special class that I added so that the pages stretch, the whole height. So here I'm gonna say that all my pages, the pages that do have applied that, the background will be white. There we go. Let me show you. So now after I save that, of course, the application might look like it's broken because a few things will be like green. Let me show you, for example, which particular one. If I log in with Google again, and then if I go log in with my application, there we go. If I go, for example, to the favorites, you see like it looks like that. So those are some of the pages that only need to make those tiny changes. So I will go to those particular pages because those have like special things in there. So for example, like the favorites page, it was not using that page because I didn't want it to stretch the whole thing. So here, all I have to do here is just, background color, just background like that. So I'm gonna copy this line because I also need it when I go to the main page. Let's say if I go to my profile and then I go to the main page, if I go to like one of these activities, you see like the details page also needs that. So I'm gonna implement that because it wasn't implementing that, the app page, and for a specific reason. Also, the other page that didn't have that, let me go back to here, and then if I go, for example, to my activity, and then I go the activity I think is called, this particular one is the attractions page. Let me see. No, not this one, the attractions list. I'm sorry, I believe this was the one. And then if I do, because I already did the favorites, we did the attractions list. There we go. Yeah, and then if I do this and then I apply that there, and let me make sure attractions list page, there you go. But I need to actually add it here. Let me see. Attraction list page. Let me save this and let's take a look again. I think this is the one. So let me make sure again. So it's still not applying. So that is the. Let me take a look again. So when I go by activity, so by activity in the routes, let's take a look at the routes. So we were saying we were passing the attraction list page component. So it's this guy right here. So attractions list page component, we have the attractions list page. It has a subheader and whatnot. So I'm gonna add a particular class for this guy. So this is the list container. So I'm gonna add this attraction list page, and then I'm gonna add the background to this guy. So I'll do background white. I don't need it in this one. Perfect. And then I'll save it. I should be able to see that white background in there. And then let's take a look. Okay, still not coming up. Let me make sure that I'm targeting that particular page. So this is the attractions list page, and then I did background white. Do I need to go one level higher for this guy? Because it was just the container. So if it's just the list page, and then this is the list container, I thought I had it there. So yeah, background like that. There you go. So it's the attractions list container. So I was good. It's just that I felt like this guy wasn't doing it correctly. It's just that I may have mistyped it or something like that. So let me just remove this. Let's save it again. Actually do save all, because we've been doing a bunch of changes. And then if I start all the way from the beginning, or at least in this particular case, we're good. So then we go back home, we go to the login, we log in with Google. Let's do it again. And you see the background was green on the body, right at the top level. So that's exactly what we're gonna be showing through the status bar. So that's pretty cool. You see, I was persisting my stuff. That's awesome. Go to the main page, go to my activity, map view, all good. If I select by region or by activity, if I select is all good. If I select one of the details page, I'm all good. If I go to my favorites, oh, the favorites still needs to be saved. So in the favorites page is a favorites page. I thought I did it here. Favorites page, background. Let me make sure that, yeah, favorites page. Oh, it's sorry, it's the favorites page container. Sorry about that. So the favorites page container is the one that has that. So a favorites page container is where we do this. Yeah, just need to make sure that you're in the right level to apply that correct style. So it's background, and then put it right. Save that. We should be able to see my favorites. Of course, nothing shows right now because even everything was green. There you go, like that. So now we're good. So let's go back to the login with Google. Let's do it again. Again, thank you very much for your patience and sticking with me through this. Because again, you need to have this properly set up, and I want to show you like all the tips and tricks on how to do that. So if I go to the main page, it's all good. Go to by region, by activity, it's all good. Go back, go to my favorites, we're still good. If I, let's say, remove this guy, it's gone, perfect. I can go back to my profile, go to the main page, all perfect. Now, let's save everything, and now let's reinstall it as a PWA to see what it looks like. So again, I'll bring the simulator, and I'll just, all you have to do in order to just reinstall it, because again, remember, everything gets cached locally, and then you have to kind of like uninstall it, because it will potentially bring like the old version. So you delete it as a bookmark. That's a cool thing. So it gets added like as a regular link, like any other link, but it looks native. But then when you uninstall it, it's not like uninstalling an app. It's just like removing that link that you added. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back over. It's still running. So let me just rebuild. All should look good. Remember, see, even here, like you will see a little bit of the greenish showing through, right? So now if I come over and then I say, okay, let's add it again as to the home screen. You hit add. You see, make sure that everything is good. This is probably, let's say this is what your landing page will be. And then if you hit add, boom, there it is. And then if you click it, awesome, it's looking good. And what do you see up there? The green that I told you that is showing through, and now you can see the status bar. Before it was black translucent, meaning if you don't have any background or whatever, like it will default to black, but if you have any background, it will show it through. So that's exactly what we wanted to do here. Look how cool it looks. It looks very professional. It doesn't have any of the browser Chrome, which is exactly what you want to do. And make it look like very native, and that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish in here. So I love the fact that we're able to do this. Now, after we have all this, what's left for us to do? If again, remember, all we did was just do ng add Angular CLI, Angular PWA, and then it did all some of those like configurations for us. It added like this, like I showed you, like the manifest. So it added the manifest. I already went through the manifest. We added all the pieces required in the index.html for it to work both on Android and iOS. So that's perfect. So make sure I'll actually put links to all of these things in the description. I already talked about the manifest, and of course, remember it added this Ngsw Config. So this configuration is what by default, you should even stick with the defaults, because what it does is it knows by default what are the common things that people cache as a PWA. And then that's it. And then see, if you can look at the package.json, it actually adds the Angular service worker for us. So it adds that package and all those dependencies. So that's awesome. So at this point, you can say, yeah, it looks cool, but now you need to try it, let's say, on your phone. Like, how do you do it? Like, this is a PWA right now. Yeah, this is the bare minimum. The bare minimum that you could do to make your application look like a PWA. You can implement more things, like you can go, again, down into the, into the vowels of service workers, like implement your own caching, making sure that you tap into the events that your service workers trigger, so you can actually do save stuff locally on maybe in IndexedDB, save stuff like on a database or something like that, cache some local resources, all that you can do that. But for whatever we have right now, I think you have your basic basis covered. So this is awesome. Now, what's the next thing that we're gonna do? I want to be able to launch that application from my phone. Like, I want to be able to add it. One of the things that you could do, let's say if you want to start doing locally, you can actually build your application and run it in localhost, like running maybe running using like an HTTP server. So you could do that. So let me show you. So if you want to test it, let's say on your device, like on your local network, you could do this. So make sure that you actually build your application for production. For example, I'm just going to do ng build prod. What it will do is in this dist folder, it will generate that folder, the Torsi web app. It will optimize and minimize and minify all my assets, JavaScript, CSS, images, the rest of the code. Is gonna create all those assets ready to be shipped or ready to be published to production. And then I'm gonna just target that folder, and I'm gonna serve all those assets from there as if it was like Firebase. So I'm gonna serve it from a local web server, serve all those generated production files as if it was a web server. So check this out. So after I do that, I'll just go to the dist folder, and then here you have like the Torsi web app, right? So you go to the Torsi web app, and here are all the assets that got generated. So now, because I already have it installed, I'll provide that also in the details, but you can install like one of those Node.js simple web servers, like light server, HTTP server. So this is the one that I have, HTTP server. So you just do HTTP server, and now it starts serving my assets from that port. So because I'm on the same Wi-Fi, all I have to do is just go in Safari. Can you guys look? Okay, so I'll just go to Safari, for example, and then I'll just go to localhost 8080, or in this particular case, I'll go to this guy, the address that is assigned to this machine, so I can tap into it. So I'll type 192.168 68.102 port 8080. 102, sorry, I mistyped it. Port 8080. And then if I run this application, 192, sorry, I'm like, I was not typing it correctly. Sorry about that. So make sure that you type your IP correctly. I wish I was like, I could even, next time probably, see, it already hits it, and then there you go. So I'm already loading the application, and then it loads there. That's fine. There we go. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is, remember, I'm going to make sure that I add it as a PWA. So how to do it? So you have to click on the left, on the rightmost icon on Safari. When you tap in here, not there, the sharing, sorry about that. I forgot to click here. So if you click in here, it launches that, and then you have to say add to home screen. So you can just tap on add to home screen. There it is. Look, it already gives me like the icon in there and the name. It says Torsi. And then if I just add, let me show you. There it is. So the icon is there. It looks very native-y, very native-like. That's what I meant. And then you see, like, let me launch it again. So for example, I'll just hide all my applications. And then there you go. So like when I do that, and then when I tap, it launches. You saw the splash screen, and then the application loads. Awesome. So this is you testing it like on the wild, but without still pushing it to production. So which is awesome. And then after that, you just do the same thing. You know, you try to like log in using Firebase and whatnot. So it's trying to log in right now. So you go through the motions, and then you can test your application locally without publishing to production yet. But this is not the point. The point is for people to enjoy your application and be able to access it from anywhere. And then instead of like downloading it from an app store, you can just give them a link like through Messenger or through like an email. And then when they click it like on their device, they can install it. So it's pretty cool. So let me add my email. So I'm gonna add the email in there. I'm gonna add the password. Let me make sure that I add the correct password. Sorry about that, guys. And thank you again for your patience. And then of course it's gonna ask me to confirm. So see, I'm not like I'm not faking anything. Everything should be good. So now when it launches, so it's taking a little while, like I don't know, because not only because I'm running it locally, but basically because of the security restrictions that it imposes when you run it locally are completely different when you, let's say, have it under like SSL. And there you go. So after I do that, okay, so now I have to, so it's still there, but that's fine. At least I just wanted to show you that the application loads fine in here. That's awesome. And then you see like the icon. That's what I wanted to show you. But now what we're gonna do is actually deploy this application to production, meaning to Firebase hosting. And then that way, not only me, but your users will be able to enjoy your application whenever you deploy it. So now why don't we do that now? That's awesome. So that's gonna be the next part of this tutorial. So let me show you. Remember, I need to go to the Firebase hosting. Let me bring it up so that you guys can see it. That's the part. So I'm gonna provide these links in there so that you actually generate your own icons as well. So that's pretty cool. So let me go to the console. Sort of gonna have it open in here, but I just like have so many things open all over the place. So there we go. So now how do you implement Firebase hosting? Remember, Firebase hosting is this feature in Firebase that allows you to host your applications, your static websites, dynamic websites on the Google Cloud for free using Firebase hosting. You also leverage again the fact that your assets are actually served on fast SSDs on CDNs all over the world. Like those fast CDNs, they cache your information on CDN edges all over like in multiple regions in the world, and that way your application like loads pretty fast. They even compress the files when they cache those files, like your websites when you deploy them to Firebase hosting. They even compress the files so that they even download even faster. So that's pretty cool. That's something that you should definitely take advantage of, and I invite everybody to do so. So how do we do this now? How do we actually publish this into Firebase, to Firebase hosting? So first thing, we need to set up the Firebase hosting in our application. So I click on the project, and then I click here where it says hosting. And then of course, hosting is not set up. So I say get started. Okay, I need to install the Firebase CLI, but I already have it installed. So again, you don't have to do this, but if you do, you have to do npm install Firebase tools. This is what gives you the Firebase CLI, the same Firebase CLI that allows you to push like cloud functions, that it allows you to do hosting and a lot of cool features. So you have to do install the Firebase tools, but I already have it. So I go next. I have to initialize a project. You have to say Firebase login, make sure that you're logged in. I did that a couple of times. So you do Firebase login, make sure that you are logged in with the account that is managing the Firebase console, and you do Firebase Init to initialize your project. We're gonna go through that. And then next, all you have to do is just deploy. And then when we go to continue the console, that's it. So it's gonna be creating a custom domain for me based on the name of the project that I created. So the domain will be called torsi-app.web.app. Sound familiar? There you go. Look, because I'm hosting in Firebase. So it's Roman just goes .web.app. So I'm even hosting my stuff here as well. So again, not only I use it, talk about dog fooding, I use the same products that I promote. So that's awesome. So here we go. So the hosting is already set up. You can not only deploy to production, but you can also use this feature from Firebase hosting called preview channels. So preview channels is like a temporary location for a limited time that you can publish your website for people to see. This is actually public, but this this hosting space only lives there for a little bit. And then you can just deploy it there, maybe only share it with your close circle or a narrow number of people, and then it just goes down, and then that's it. But the one that you actually deploy to production, like publicly, it will be there forever. But this one, if you do preview channels, again, is cool for that, like share changes and testing before going live. The cool thing about this is that this taps into all the underlying infrastructure of Firebase. So, make sure to be cautious about this, because even if you publish it there, it's public. People are tapping into the infrastructure, Firebase Cloud Firestore, cloud messaging, and all the stuff underneath it. Okay, so the hosting is there, but now we need to publish this application up there. So how do we do it? So remember, we already have our folder called this Torsi web app ready to be published in there. How do you do it now? So let me kill this guy because I don't need this anymore. And now all I have to do is this, Firebase Init. Firebase Init will initialize and will kind of take over this project and say, okay, so we're gonna make this project like Firebase compliant. So this is what it does. Firebase Init, sorry about that. So let's do Firebase Init, and it initializes this project to be Firebase friendly. So it gives you a couple of options, and immediately when you do that, see, it gives you like a bunch of like command line options. So which Firebase CLI feature do you want to set up? You use the arrow keys in your keyboard, and then you navigate. We want to do hosting. So you can do like database, Firestore, functions, hosting, storage, emulators, remote config, and stuff. We want to do hosting. So you select that with the arrow functions, and then you hit space. So it says press space to select, A to toggle, blah, blah, blah. So I do space for hosting. And then select it, enter. Please select an option. Okay, let's do an existing project. So I want to host it to an existing project in there. So I do use an existing project, hit enter. Now it's going to pull like all my projects. So you see, why am I not seeing my project? Why? Because I'm logged in with the wrong user. So this is a great thing I wanted to mention. So you have to get out of there. You have to make sure that when you do Firebase login, remember they mentioned that, I totally skipped that piece. Roman, that's not the account that is managing this Firebase account. So you need to make sure that you're in the right account. Otherwise, then you deploy it somewhere else. So Firebase Logout. So I logged out of that. Now I'm gonna say Firebase login, and then I'm gonna log in with my Roman Just Codes account, which is the one that I have. Yeah, I could say yes, whatever. And then here I log in with this account. This is the one that is managing the Firebase account, the Firebase console. Now I can come over here and do it again. So I will clear the console and do it all over again. So Firebase Init. And now I'll initialize the project again. We've already gone through these steps, so I'll just say again hosting, space enter, an existing project, enter. Now you see it. Now I have UPS tracking and Torsi app. Torsi app is the one that we want to do. Enter. Okay, so now what is the public directory? By default, is going to create a public folder for you, and then you drop the files in there. In my case, I want to keep my configuration the way it is. So the public directory for me, the public folder where the assets that I want to publish to Firebase to be hosted on my behalf, I'm gonna do, instead of public, is dist/torsi-web-app. That's exactly this folder that you see right here. So it's called dist torsi web app. So which is the public directory? Yeah, I should have moved it here. And then what is the public directory? Dist torsi web app. If I hit enter, configure as a single web app. Yes. Rewrite all URLs to index.html. Yes. Set up automatic builds. This is something really cool. I'm not gonna set up automatic builds, but you could. If you had your project hosted in GitHub, it actually does that in combination with GitHub. So it's amazing. Like, again, Firebase is like, you know, a godsend. And it's something that I definitely encourage everybody to use. So let's continue. I'll say no. And then that's it. So after that, you remember, you kind of saw like a couple of things in here. So you created this Firebase.json, which is the configuration that tells it, okay, so ignore the Firebase.json, grab everything else. This is my public folder. Ignore the node modules, because remember, we don't want the node modules. Just go. It says like ignore all of these guys, but go and grab me the files that got generated in the Torsi web app. And of course, it does like the rewrites and whatnot. This is just the RC file, the Firebase RC file that just details like what the project is, which is okay. Remember, I'm logged in the right account and all that. That's it. I just set up Firebase and I'm ready to publish it. So I can do this right away. Either, if you want, again, I can publish it to a preview channel, and all you have to do is just this, and then you give it like your own preview name. So we can try this. So look, I'll do Firebase hosting channel deploy, and then this will be Torsi, let's call it demo. Let's say I'm going to demo it for a client before putting it to production. So if I do that, it will generate it's going to deploy it. It's going to grab all the files in this Torsi web app, push it to Firebase, create an instance. I'm assuming it will create probably like a Docker container or something like that, and it will add the files in there, and then it will host them like in a Node.js little environment. And then that's it. Look, it already creates, not already pushed everything. Everything deploys complete, all good. And here, this is the URL. It's been blocked by this image. So this is the URL that gets generated that we can try. And you see, it says like Torsi app, Torsi demo, blah, blah, blah. So it's like a temporary location. Now, if I go to that temporary location, Firebase hosting setup complete, blah, blah, blah. Okay, perfect. We need to make sure because, wait. Which one did it go to? So this is the one. So if I go back over, open hosting documentation, I should have expected to see the files in there. Let's make sure that then it actually picked up the, remember, it didn't create a public folder, but it actually grabbed from this Torsi web app. Let's make sure that the Firebase.json, this Torsi-web-app. Okay, that should be, do I have to, let me see. Oh, okay. So this is my bad. Okay. This is the problem. So I was inside of the Torsi web app. So I have to do the Firebase again because it actually added it in there. So my apologies. So let's do this again. So what I did actually, when I added the project, I was in the Torsi web app folder and then it generated everything in there. So this is good that we're actually doing this because again, I just fat fingered that piece. But again, that's great that you guys are there to keep me honest. So let me delete the whole thing and let's just do it real quick. See, I was in the Torsi web app. So I'm gonna go back to the root. So is it users, Roman, documents, and then the Torsi, and then the Torsi web app. Here we go. That is the root, and that's exactly where I want to set up the Firebase. It all got added inside of the disk folder because I was in that folder. So let's do it again. So right here, I'll do Firebase Init. Same thing. See, I'll do hosting. it must select at least one feature. Oh, sorry, I didn't do the correct one. So Firebase Init. Okay, so I'll do hosting space enter. Use an existing project. Yes. Torsi app. Yes. You want to use this public directory. Same thing. Dist torsi-web-app. I believe that's what I called it. Yes. Single page app. No automatic builds, and then that's it. Now, the Firebase should have been out here. There you go. Instead of inside of the dist folder. That was my mistake. So apologies for that. Now again, I'm just gonna do the regular ng build -- prod, so that it actually generates the assets again for me. And then I'm gonna deploy it again to that same, I can do the same preview channel. I believe, I don't think there will be an issue with that. I'll just call it exactly the same name. I call it torsi-demo. So it will be torsi app -- torsi-demo, and then it will generate it there. So let's wait for this. I'll take a sip right here. Perfect. So it actually generated really fast. So now, yeah, now I don't have to even go in there. These are my assets. They've been generated. This is my Firebase.json. All I have to do is just Firebase. Actually, let's do the deploy again. And then I will just call it Torsi demo again. Let's try it one more time. It should be able to pick up the files from this Torsi web app. See, now it's uploading some files. Before it's like, okay, where are the files? It went a little crazy there. So now if I grab this URL, this temporary URL, this should work. And there you go. So now this is publicly available in there, and you can go to town. But this is again temporary. It will just live there for a little bit. I can't remember exactly. I think it's like days or hours or something like that. It's not that much, but at least it's there as a preview for you, like something that you can demo to people. That's awesome. So if you view the docs, it tells you how long it takes. So it even says it gives you a temporary URL, but then it should be able to tell you how long it takes for that. Okay, perfect. So now, are we ready to deploy to production? Let's do it. So I'll close in this guy, and now let's actually deploy it to production. So now here, this is the preview channel, but here hasn't, you see usage. There's nothing here because nobody has accessed this yet. So now instead of doing just these command like Firebase hosting, it's just as simple as just saying Firebase deploy. This is the default. Firebase deploy, it will grab that Firebase.json configuration, and it knows that I have hosting set up. So, hosting is what you want, I'll do it. They probably may be other sections in here, for example, when you do deploy functions and whatnot. But here, then that's it. So now we should be able to have our application fully available publicly. Those of you watching can actually go to this URL right now, and you can play with the application. And please break it, because this is exactly what I did it for. So I'm bye-bye localhost. I'm not going to be using localhost anymore. I want to grab the one that is publicly available, cool, connection secure, because again, we get automatic SSL, a certificate for us right there. That's awesome by default when you deploy to Firebase, and it's completely secure. So you make your users feel a lot more secure. So that's one of the beauties of deploying to Firebase. So I'm gonna run it the same way that I was doing it before, but now this is all published publicly out there. So let's go to my account. And there you go. I could go to the main page. Perfect. All working fine. It's still pulling the data and whatnot. Let me go to some of these guys. So some of the images are, I probably have to take a look at that, but this is a good opportunity for me to take a look at why the images are not loading in this particular case. I'm pretty sure it's because the images may not be coming from an HTTP. I mean, they should. Well, these are some images that I had yeah. So if I take a look at one of these guys, the endpoints, get attractions by activity or something like that, get top attractions like the endpoints. If I look at the preview and I look at the template data, let's take a look at the images, where the images are coming from. So the images are coming from HTTP. That's exactly why. So that's something that we can take care of that later, and then you will see that, because I'm hosting these like on an HTTP server. So what I'll do is I'll probably move these guys over to an HTTPS server. That way they get served from a secure location as well. And because of the discrepancy, like it doesn't want to serve the images, but it's okay. At least we were able to grab like the application. Everything was good. See, like all of this, you won't see that. That's okay. You click here, yeah, that's okay. You won't be able to see it. You know, that's a bummer. But that's on me, because I was still hosting that on a separate personal server that didn't have SSL in there. So now that you see this, now all you have to do is just come over to your application. By the time you guys maybe start hitting that, I'll definitely fix those images and make sure that they're in a secure location. So anyway, you can see it right there. I'm gonna delete it from here, from my bookmarks, and I'm gonna add it right from here. So the same thing, I'll go Torsi web app, just like that. So I'll just tap torsi-app.web.app. So if I type it right here, if I say torsi-app.web.app, and then I click it, there you go. So it's loading fine. This is the public version, fully available in Torsi web.app from my phone. And remember, you tap the share button down here, and then you can just find the way to add it to the home screen. There it is. I'll just hit add at the top right here. I'll say add, and right there it is. Let me just move it over to the side, and there it is. Awesome. So I was able to show you, and then now when you tap it, it will look like a native application, because it won't have like any of the Chrome or anything like that. So if I tap it, you saw the splash screen, my splash screen, then the application. Perfect. Awesome. I'm glad you guys again were able to stick with me through the duration of this video, where we actually did wrap our application as a PWA. I explained a little bit about service workers, the manifest, some of the assets that you need to bring in order to make your application more like native looking, like native look and feel. You achieve that look and feel for your PWA. We were able to, again, add it to our home screen on an iOS device. Remember, iOS is a little bit tricky when you implement like PWAs, because it's not fully implemented yet. But if I had done this like on an Android device, it would have worked like right away. That's awesome. Also, now after we wrap that application as a PWA, we build it for production. We have all those assets ready to be pushed. We implemented Firebase hosting. So again, Firebase hosting. Now I'm pretty sure you'll see like some data coming from here. There you go. So like it says no data, but you already see like some activity going on in here. So we implemented Firebase hosting for this application, and look, I have the Spark account. It's a free account, so please take advantage of this. This is free money that you're leaving, so make sure to create your Firebase console account, Firebase account, implement hosting, even start like some static assets or whatnot, or create like a little hello world Angular PWA and then push it there. Implement the things that I did as far as like the generating your own custom icons and splash screens, so you actually give an edge to your application so that they are like more cleanly developed, more polished. Your users will be even fooled sometimes by thinking that this is a native application because it doesn't have any of the Chrome. Some people don't even care or didn't even know. They just want a great experience. They want something that you can develop fast. In this particular case, you can develop with one single code base. Anybody, anywhere, on any device can access your application, just like I proved it right there. So that's something that I'm really proud of. And again, through the duration of these 10 episodes in season 1, where we developed Angular PWAs using Google Maps, using Firebase Authentication, Firebase Cloud Firestore, Firebase Hosting. We did, we implemented some aspects of the PWA. So I definitely like the fact that you know, we implemented all these things, and you stuck in there with me throughout the duration of this season. Please make sure to like this video if you find it useful. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, also to the Twitch channel. Follow me on Twitter @DearCoders. That's my handle, @DearCoders. Make sure to yeah, I will definitely keep this application running. Like if you go to torsi-app.web.app, I'll keep this running, you know, indefinitely. Why? Because again, I made this for you guys, and you can play, and also you can use this application if you want to visit Dominican Republic, and you can take a look at what are the coolest locations and coolest attractions in the Dominican Republic, so you can view that. So that's Torsi for you. Let me just relaunch it for you. So please, again, use this application. It's all yours. Please break it, download it. I will actually have the GitHub repo for this whole project available like tonight, so that you can actually download it and take a look at all the pieces that I implemented throughout the whole 10 episodes. And then you can tinker with it, create your own applications, your own Angular PWAs, implement all this, and then try to emulate a few of the things that I did, some of the tips and tricks that I implemented, and again, you make it your own. So let me do again just some minor again housekeeping announcements. Remember, my blog itself is actually hosted in Firebase, developed as an Angular PWA, as well as an Angular 11 as a PWA. It's also installable. This is actually, you can even see it right here on my device. So I also have it as an installable PWA. Talk about, again, dog fooding. You can see it right there. RJC Roman just codes. This is the application. When you launch it, there's a you know, the splash screen, and then you get the application. So the same app that you see here, see, it behaves just like a native application, but it's just the same website that you see. But it's the same website loading loaded on my device, but then I installed it. I made it installable. Remember, one of those the pillars of a PWA: capable, reliable, installable. I made my website. Not just something that you can visit regularly through a desktop or whatever, or a tablet, but you can also consume it as a native application almost. It looks like that. So that's why, again, I encourage everybody to take some of the tips that I did here, and then you do your own and implement those things. Again, remember, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Twitch. I would definitely appreciate if you guys follow me on Twitter. Like I said, please also take a look at the blog post in Medium. You can take a look at like in medium.com. I actually post a lot of things in there about Angular web apps, a bunch of the things. I'm gonna have like another season. The next season will be on, again, all the technologies that I'm passionate about, the things that I know you guys like and you guys love. We're gonna be tapping on those technologies and keeping you guys up to date. Also, do you want me to speak at your developer meetup, at your you know, via Zoom, Google Meet, or whatever have you? You can actually find my availability here. So you can go to my contact, and you can reach me again via Twitter, my YouTube channel. You can send me a message, you know, to my personal email or whatnot. You can connect to me via LinkedIn, but you can also book me for a talk for your next meetup or, you know, developer event, and I can talk about like Angular PWAs, how to create your you know, tips and tricks on how to develop your Angular PWAs. Firebase, I do Firebase Cloud, Firebase Cloud Firestore, Firebase Authentication, Firebase Cloud Messaging, Firebase Hosting, all the Firebase suite, and again, of course, Angular and whatnot. I've been doing a lot of Flutter talks as well. So again, my next season will probably perhaps be on Flutter, so stay tuned for that. Here you can check my availability, and then you can send me a message, like, you know, which day might work for you. For me, works mostly like midweek, and like weekends work best for me. Like, so you can actually book me for any like a talk for you. I would gladly do it for you for free, because my passion is to you, to give you value in these videos and in these tutorials, so that you can actually get ahead, like in as far as like getting your application robustly developed with the latest and greatest practices in the industry, so you can actually build cool applications, just like you know, the way I like to do it. So I'm glad that you know, you guys were there throughout the duration of this video. So I just wanted to check on time, so I think we should be good. Let me just do this. thank you very much again for sticking with me throughout the duration of this season.